So again, everybody, a blessed morning to everyone. Hello, hi, mabuhay. I hope you are now ready for our new topic to discuss. And before that, we are going to have our simple prayer. So let's bow our head and feel the presence of our dear Lord Jesus Christ, Lord. Thank you for this wonderful day that you have given us to share our knowledge and hope everyone else can also share their in science. And as all we pray in Jesus' name, amen. So are you ready now, students?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's move forward to our motivational activity with its title, Fix Me, Baby. So let's proceed to the next slide of our activity. Who is this in the picture? Can somebody know who is this?
Ma'am,
Yes, Miss Tandingan.
Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, ma'am.
Okay, very good. This is Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. How about the next picture? Who is this?
Ma'am,
Yes, again.
Lapu-Lapu, ma'am.
Yes, this is Lapu-Lapu from Cebu. So, who is this woman in the picture?
Ma'am,
Yes,
Cory Aquino.
very good. This is Cory Aquino that can be seen in the 500 peso bill. How about this man in the picture? Can you know who is this?
Ma'am,
Yes, Miss Tandingan.
Ferdinand Marcos Sr., ma'am.
Yes, this is former President Ferdinand Marcos Sr. And I hope everybody would gain insights about our motivational activity. And I hope that perhaps you will notice what will be the topic that we are going to discuss for today. So let's move forward to another individual. This is an individual activity that you can write your answers in your notebook. So this is our story sequence. Are you ready, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. For our choices, we also have the choices here. First, sa kabuuan, noong unang panahon sa taong 1565, ngunit pakalipas ang mga siglo, sa susunod, isang araw sa taong 2000, sa kabila, makalipas ang mga dekada. Students will be able to choose your answers from this box and make sure na ito po ay tama at maayos po ang pagkakakonstruct ng ating mga kasagutan. Nang sa ganon ay atin pong malaman ang tamang pagkakasunod-sunod ng mga pangyayari. Are you ready, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let's proceed to our first, second, and third paragraph. For our first paragraph, can somebody know the answer for this?
Ma'am,
Okay, napakabilis naman sagutin ni Miss Veron. Can you tell us your answer for this first paragraph?
noong unang panahon.
Very good. Good in guessing or just really know the answer. Noong unang panahon is right. So, noong unang panahon, nagkaroon ng isang dakilang labanan sa pagitan ng matatapang na mandirigmang si Lapu-Lapu at ng eksplorador na kilala bilang Ferdinand Magellan at layunin ni Magellan na sakupin ang isla ng Pilipinas para sa korona ng Espanya, ngunit hinarap niya ang matinding paglaban mula kay Lapu-Lapu at ng kanyang mga mandirigma. So everybody, do you have your answer for number 2, for our paragraph 2?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Can we know the answer, Miss Tandingan?
Sa taong 1565, ma'am.
Are you really sure that that is the correct answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. That's great. Sa taong 1565, dumating si Miguel Lopez de Legazpi kasama ang kanilang pangkat ng mga eksplorador sa Pilipinas na nagsasabing ito ang simula ng mga pananakop ng mga Kastila. Okay, I hope everybody ay marami pong nakatama sa atin, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good for our third paragraph. Tingnan natin kung masasagutan ito uli. Who wants to answer?
Ma'am,
Yes, Miss Veron?
makalipas ang mga siglo, ma'am.
Okay, that's great. That's very good. Makalipas ang mga siglo, si Ferdinand Marcos Sr. ay umangat sa kanyang kapangyarihan at nagpatupad ng batas militar na nagdala ng malaking mga pagbabago at pagsubok sa bansa. I hope everybody na monitor po natin ang mga sagot natin. And proceed po tayo for our fourth paragraph. And this is the second to the last paragraph that we are going to answer. So, who wants to answer for the fourth paragraph?
Ma'am,
Yes, Miss Tandingan?
ngunit, ma'am.
Ngunit. So, is that ngunit is correct?
Yes,
Yes, very good. Very sure, Miss Tandingan. So, ngunit nagkaisa ang mga Pilipino sa ilalim ng pamumuno ni Cory Aquino na lumaban para sa pagbabalik ng demokrasya at kapangyarihan ng mamamayan. At mga pangyayaring ito ang nagporma ng kasaysayan ng bansa na nagpapakita pagdating ng impluwensya ng mga mananakop at magbagyo ay magulong batas militar at ang tagumpay ng demokrasya. Okay, very good. Lahat ba ay nakakuha ng correct answer for number 4?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. That's nice to hear. So let's proceed to our last question for our last paragraph. So who wants to answer for this?
Ma'am,
Okay, let's call Miss Veron for this.
sa kabuuan, ma'am.
Okay, sa kabuuan. So, para summary na ata ito So, sa kabuuan, ang mga pangyayaring ito ay nagbigay anyot sa kasaysayan ng Pilipinas. Ito ang naging simula ng pananakop, pananalasan ng batas militar, at ang tagumpay ng demokrasya. Ito ang tanda ng tapang, pagkakaisa at diwa ng kalayaan na magpakailanman ay nagpapatuloy sa pusong Pilipino. Everybody, lahat ba ay nakakuha ng perfect score?
Yes, ma'am. Perfect.
Okay, very good. At talaga namang you have your own knowledge pagdating talaga sa story sequence. So, are you now ready to listen to our formal discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But before that, we also have the analysis. So, it is just to measure what you have learned to our activities. And for the first question, as a student, how you show your love for the country? Yes, Miss Tandingan, are you raising your hand?
Yes, ma'am.
So, what is your answer for this?
Maging proud sa mga bagay na gawang Pilipino at patuloy na linangin ito.
Okay, very good. That we really have to lean what we have in our country and also to protect it from the invaders. So for the second question, how does studying the sequence of events in history contribute to your personal collective identity and sense of belonging? Oh, so Miss Veron, what is your answer? You're raising your hands.
Ma'am, nalaman po natin yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng pangyayari sa kanayahan din tayo ng pagdating sa critical thinking at mas naging aware kung ano po yung dating nangyari sa ating lahat.
Okay, very good. We have this sense of belongingness and awareness. So, what is the significance of looking back?
Ma'am, nakikita natin yung mga pros and cons.
Yes, very good. We will be able to identify kung ano ba yung mga nangyari, yung mga maganda at hindi magandang nahatid dito sa atin. And for sure naman, may learning naman tayo na nakuha para dito. So, ito na, pinakahihintay ng lahat. Ito na yung ating formal discussion about our topic. With our topic, evolution of the Philippine politics and governance. So, may idea na ba kayo about this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. And because we have done a lot of activities, alam ko naman inyo na talaga namang alam kung ano ang mga ito. At ngayon naman, atin naman itong palalawakin. So, ito yung start ng ating evolution of the Philippine politics and governance. Nag-start muna ito sa pre-Spanish government, in which itong government na to ay nag-start sa ating mga Filipinos, in which the early Filipinos had their own government system that they called it balangay. Ito yung pinamumunuan ng mga datu at raha sa isang community o sa isang barangay. Commonly, kung mapapanood natin yung palabas na Amaya or may nakakatanda pa sa atin, those na tinatawag nating datu at dara, karaniwan sa kanila ay yung may mga, para sila si Apo Wangod, maraming tattoo sa katawan, and then, hindi sila humahawak ng barrel, but rather, meron silang espada or may itak silang dala sa kanilang baywang. So, dito, lahat ng power na isang government talagang napopossess ng datu o raha. Sila yung nagsisilbing executive or yung head ng community, sila din yung batas, sila din yung nag-uusga at sila din yung militar sa loob nito. Kasama, syempre, ng mga kanilang mga timawa or mga nakakatulong nila sa loob ng isang community. At alam din nyo ba that they also have their social classes during those times. So, talaga nakikita natin na yung sistema ng pamumuhay during the pre-Spanish government is talagang kahit papaano ay mayroon na tayong matatawag na sarili nating system of government kasi nga meron na rin tayo social classes. So, dito, pinakikita yung maharlika. Ito yung kabilang dito yung mga datu, raha, yung asawa nila, yung mga anak na tagapagmana, and even yung mga negosyante na nakikita natin dito. So, sa Timawa naman, freemen sila, malaya. Parang middle class sila. Yung equivalent nila sa atin ngayon. Sila yung mga malalayang people na nakakagawa ng mga bagay na gusto nila. And we also have yung lower class na tinatawag natin na alipin. So, there are two types of alipin. Aliping sa gigilid and aliping na mamahay. So, proceeding to this social structure, tingnan natin na nasa tuktok ang maharlika, nasa gitna yung timawa, at nasa ilalim yung alipin. Kasi nga, yung alipin yung pinakamababang uri ng tao na meron during those times. Diba? So, dito rin naman sa type of government na to, hindi rin naman naiiwasan yung mga abuses and discrimination, but at least as Filipinos, meron pa rin tayong matatawag na sariling system of government natin bago pa rin dumating yung mga colonizer. So, for our second type of government or second period, we also have the government under the Spanish rule in which it was led by the Spanish Governor General na kung saan sila ay itinalaga ng hari ng Espanya. Like dito sa ating bansa, nang tayo ay sakupin ng bansang Spain, sila ay nagtalaga ng isang Governor General. At kilala nyo ba kung sino ito? Siyempre, ito yung una nating sinagutan kanina. Siya si Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. And also, ang tawag dito sa Governor General na ito ay representative siya ng King of Spain or siya yung tinatawag na Little King of Spain. Ito yung namumuno sa isang state. Tulad ng sinakop tayo, meron tayong Governor General. Pero hindi naman lahat ng bahagi talaga ng as in buong Pilipinas ay nasakop dahil may ilan pa rin naman na kahit na paano ay hindi narating ng mga Spanish noon. Pero karaniwan sa atin dito ay nasakop at yung iba pa nga ay nagtatago sa mga kabundukan upang hindi sila mahuli sapagkat sila din ay gagawing alipin o slave. So dito, kaugnay nitong Governor General ang mga rule ng mga friars or yung tinatawag nating mga praile. Okay, kilala nyo ba yung mga praile na yan? May kilala ba kayo? Ay, hindi nyo kilala yung Gombursa. Sino ba nakakaalala na? Naaalala nyo ba yon?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, syempre, yung mga nanood ng Gombursa, we will be able to identify yung mga ginawa ng mga friars and governor general during those times, na kung saan yung pamamahala ng mga prayle is talagang napakahigpit. 'Di ba? Kasi nga, ang tinuturo nila is Christianism, and then yung sarili nilang language na hindi na naman natin gaanong ah, nagagamit sa kasalukuyang panahon, ano. Pero during nung time ng Gomburza kasi, even though yung mga pare is a blooded Spanish, but as they are born in the Philippines, parang hindi sila gaanong tinatanggap nung mga praring pinanganak talaga dun sa bansa nila. Kasi nga, mas feeling nila parang may halo ng Pilipino, gano'n. So, nagkakaroon dito ng discrimination. And kung iisipin natin, ang daming praile that they are abusing the use of their power and position. Kaya nga 'di ba nagkaroon tayo ng isang novel by Jose Rizal, The Reign of Greed, o yung tinatawag nating El Filibusterismo, if I'm not mistaken. So, he wrote two novels, the No Limitangere and El Filibusterismo, that really shows how this Spanish ruled in our country. But then, kung iisipin natin sa kabilang banda, we also have this system of education during their time. So, alam nyo ba, nung time na yon, hindi naman yung actually pagkakasakop agad, but as the years passes by, nakapagpatayo naman tayo ng mga schools under the Spanish colonization. 'Di ba? Kung isipin natin, nagkaroon tayo ng University of Santo Tomas, kung saan parang may halong Spanish din naman sila. And also, at least we really adopt the Christianism by them. So, medyo look forward na lang din tayo to the good things that they have done. And also, we should not forget yung mga bad things that can make us stronger today. So, moving forward to our next slide, that look at this system of government that the Spain have. So, they have the king as the head of the states, and they have their governor general, they have their royal audiencia, going down to their alcalde mayor, that in our recent form of government is the mayor of a city, and the captains in the barangays, or the cabeza de barangay, di ba? So, dito makikita natin yung iba't ibang pagbabago na nangyari sa ating kasaysayan. So, dito, we will be able to identify yung hierarchy ng namumuno talaga dito. Imagine, from Peninsulares, ang Pilipino ay ang kulay
Violet.
yes. Why? Kasi nga, dahil dahil yung mga Spanish yung namumuno, so, feeling nila talaga na sila talaga yung head ng state, at nawawalan na ng kapangyarihan or rights na mamuno yung isang Filipino. Kaya napakababa nung ating posisyon pagdating dito. Ito yung kapag Peninsulares ka, pure-blooded ka, doon ka pinanganak. So, mas mataas yung chances mo na nasa top ka or nasa upper class kapag yung Solares, yung mga may mga blood naman ng Spanish, but they are not born there. So, may mga para siyang breed na or different tawag dito, iba't ibang lahi na, 'di ba? Tapos ang pinakamababa pa dito is yung mga Indio o yung mga sariling atin din. So, moving forward naman tayo dito sa American period or sa American type of government, 'di ba? So, yung mga Americans kasi, they started the military rule in the Philippines on August 14, 1898. So, yung president ng United States, na parang nagpadala siya ng mga military to exercise the power, yun na, dito din tayo nagkaroon ng tinatawag nating form of government. Kung isipin niyo, medyo halo dito yung executive, legislative, and judiciary, in which meron tayo sa kasalukuyan nating sistema ng gobyerno. So, dito, same as the Spain, meron din silang governor general, and the Philippine Commission was sold as a lawmaking body of the government. So, dito kasi sa Americans, nung nag-arrive sila sa Philippines, nagkaroon din tayo, kung may priling nagtuturo sa atin, meron din tayong mga Thomasites from the Americans. Those are military, sila yung mga soldiers na pumunta rito para to colonize us, but they are also helping us din naman pagdating sa ating system of education. Kasi, alam nyo ba that the University of the Philippines is hollow siya sa Americans kasi nga they are more on liberalism. So, kalayaan, di ba? May kalayaan. So, parang dito siya na hahawig. So, sa form of this naman, nagkaroon din tayo ng upper house. And may tinatawag tayong Jones Law na naging isa sa mga fundamental law in the Philippines para sa ating legislative power, di ba? Dito rin nagkaroon tayo ng nag-umpisa ng mabuo yung sistema ng gobyerno sa Pilipinas. Unti-unti na natin siyang naitatatag kasi nga after this American period na nasakop tayo, di ba sinabi pa nga nung sinasakop tayo during World War ni MacArthur, if I'm not mistaken, na babalik siya para sa atin. So, sa Japanese occupation naman, the military administration was established in the Manila noong January 3, 1942. A civil government, which was called the Philippine Executive Commission, was established with George B. Vargas as the chairman. So, it had legislative and executive powers, but laws enacted through were subject approval of the Commander-in-Chief of the Japanese forces. So, on October 14, 1943, the Japanese-sponsored Philippine Republic with Jose P. Laurel as the president was inaugurated. So, dito, matatandaan natin, si P. Laurel has become also the President of the Republic of the Philippines. During these times na yung Japanese occupation, we have done a lot of wars. Kung maalala natin in the University of the Philippines Los Baños campus, maraming namatay during the Japanese military administration. Kung i-research natin, it is more than 1,000 people that died during those times. And marami din doon na naikulong or mga hindi pinapalabas na people as we go on searching for that. But dito rin kasi sa pananakop nitong Japanese is dito nagkaroon ng talagang abuse in women in which nagkaroon nga din dito ng mga comfort women kung saan talaga namang talagang nasira yung pagkataon ng mga babaeng Pilipino kasi they are being abused by these Japanese military or Japanese soldiers. So, in the present government, since independence is in 1988 and the ratification of the Philippine Constitution. So, let me ask somebody, anong constitution na ba tayo ngayon? Ano na ba yung constitution na meron tayo? We have this 1987 Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines. So, eto na yung law na ginagamit natin. Tama ba, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, so sino ang president natin ngayong 2024?
Ferdinand Marcos Jr.
Okay, very good. Akala ko naman nakalimutan nyo na si Ferdinand Marcos Jr. So, may nakakaalala ba kung sino naman yung unang president ng ating bansa?
Yes, ma'am. General Emilio Aguinaldo, ma'am.
Okay, very good. This is Emilio Aguinaldo. So, buhay pa ba ang lahat? Baka naman natutulog na kayo sa ating klase, ha? Everybody, gising pa ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. So, yung pagkakatatag ng ating 1987 Constitution is talagang para sa mamamayan talaga siya kung iisipin ilan ngang articles ang meron yon? Kung may nakakaalala, ilang articles meron ang 1987 Constitution? Ilang articles?
18, ma'am.
Okay, very good. We have the 18 articles for the 1987 Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines. Very good. So, but before that, we're also going to, um, we are going to, nasa na yun? Proceedings. So here, we're going to identify one of the two prominent people in the present government. So, sino yung nakikita nating lalaki dito? The former president.
Ferdinand Marcos Sr., ma'am.
Okay, this is the father of the current president of the Republic of the Philippines. Etong nakikita natin na si Ferdinand Marcos Sr. is really malaki yung ginampanan niya. Though ang ganda nung kanyang mga layunin for the country kasi gusto niya talaga na ipapakita yung pagmamahal sa bansa ng mga mag-aaral. Kung babasahin natin yung mga gusto niyang i-implement pagdating sa education. But then kasi hindi siya gaanong nangyari kasi nga dumaan yung martial law. He is the one who declared the martial law kasi nga marami ang nagtatalo-talo, marami nag-aaway-away. But then kasi yung kinalabasan ng kanyang martial law kasi masyado siyang naging dictatorship, 'di ba? Kung mababasa natin to some history books, he was called as a dictatorial. Siya yung pinaka-picture ng dictatorial dito sa Philippines. But then, on the other side naman siguro, kung iisipin natin na isa sa layo niya is to foster the love for the country, it seems like it is contradicting dun sa nangyayari, di ba? So, from dictatorship on the 1971-1972, going to having the democracy under, who is this president, former president?
Corazon Aquino, ma'am.
Yes, very good. Kasi, from dictatorship, nag-transfer tayo. Nagkaroon tayo ng reform dito na nalipat tayo sa democracy. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so nagkaroon tayo dito ng democracy. So, makikita natin yung kaibahan. Ano ba yung pag-dictatorship? Dictator. Parang dinidiktahan tayo, right?
Yes.
May sinusunod tayo eh. Meron, kahit ayaw natin, but we have to do that. So, sa democracy, we have the freedom to choose, 'di ba? So, kasi pag dictatorial ka, pag authoritarian ka, you have the right as a head of state na extend yung kapangyarihan mo kung ikaw yung masusunod kasi you are the leader. Pag democracy, taong bayan yung masusunod, 'di ba? Sabi nga the people gives you the power and only the people can remove it from you. So better we should always know kung ano yung mga dapat at hindi dapat natin gawin para naman ito sa kabutihan ng mga mamamayan. So ngayon, ang dami na natin natakal iba't ibang pagbabago and I hope you learned from that, everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, let's move forward to another set of activity, which is the role play. So, the students will be divided into 4 groups, and each group will be assigned a specific period or significant event in the evolution of the Philippine politics and governance. Each group will be responsible for portraying and performing a role play that shows important events and a particular period or events. Ito yung tinatawag pre-colonial, yung pre-Spanish period, Spanish period, American period, and our present government. Do you understand, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
So, in doing your group activity, we also have the rubrics for the content knowledge, 5 points, role portrayal, 5 points, creativity and engagement, 5 points, collaboration, 5 points, with a total points of 20. Okay, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, everybody, are you done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Ngayon naman, pagmasdan natin kung ano ba yung mga role play ng ating groups. Starting from the group 1. Okay, very good. For the group 1, they really portray the pre-colonial or the pre-Spanish by making yung mga datu and your creativity is good. And let's proceed for the group 2. Okay, very good din. Talaga namang naipakita yung mga ginawa during the Spanish era. Talaga naipakita yung mga may mga pari pa. So, for the group 3, okay, very good. Nakita natin yung mga Americans. We have the Thomasites there. Nakita natin yung parang liberalism there. And so, proceeding to group number 4. Okay, very good. Nagpakita kayo ng dictatorial and democracy. Talaga nakikita natin yung pagbabago or yung changes or shifting ng from one type of government to another. Very good. So, after your presentation, you are going to watch a short clip about the things that we have discussed.
May not fit well with a federal system of government, but the connection between the Constitution and federalism is quite a hurdle to undertake. What we must first understand, however, is the arguments for federalism. Federalism has several benefits under its sleeves, but we will limit it to 4 major reasons why it is good for the Philippines. First, there is a notion called regional autonomy. Under a federal system, regional governments could have more control over their resources, policies, and legislation. This increased autonomy could empower local leaders to address the unique challenges and needs of their communities without having to rely on the central government's approval or intervention. One example of how regional autonomy could benefit the Philippines under a federalist government is in the area of natural resource management. With the country's abundant natural resources, a federalist system could allow regional governments to have greater control over how these resources are used and managed. Following regional autonomy, there is also a notion called decentralization of power. Federalism would help to decentralize power, reducing the concentration of authority in Manila. This shift could lead to better governance, increased efficiency, and reduced corruption. Thirdly, equitable distribution of resources. In a federal system, resources would be distributed more evenly across the country, ensuring that each region receives a fair share of the national budget. This equitable distribution could lead to improved infrastructure, better access to education and healthcare, and overall economic growth in underdeveloped regions. Finally,
So, ayun, everybody, we have watched about the federalism kung saan umiral din siya sa ating bansa. So, let's try to make comparison between the shifting. Kasi nga, yung federalism, yun yung gustong i-impose ng ating former President Rodrigo Duterte din, di ba? Pero, parang hindi gaanong napansin si federalism kasi siya ay, tawag dito, nananaig sa isipan at sa puso ng bawat mamamayan yung about sa democracy. Kasi kapag nagkaroon ng decentralization of power na may regional na lang yung mamumuno, so parang nagiging ano siya, perhaps pag na-abuse siya, magiging dictatorial siya, pwedeng matulad dun sa ating last example, 'di ba? So, dito rin naman kasi, kung titingnan natin yung negative effects niya is, kung yung isa lang yung may hawak ng lahat, so parang dapat magkaroon din tayo ng checks and balances about doon, 'di ba? So, doon din kasi nakikita natin na from the head, from the national government, downward na lang to our local government, parang, kasi sisiriin pa rin siya ng mga mamamayan. Actually, unlike sa democracy, malaya tayo, nagkakaroon tayo ng transparency, kasi kapag one person lang per region yung may hawak, parang medyo nagiging confidential kung tawagin yung mga ganong bagay. Though, at some points, kung titingnan natin is, mas mapapabilis yung mga distribution of different things. Kasi nga, bahala na yung head ng isang region or ng isang community yung mag-distribute. So, what was the problem about that is, paano kung hindi naman siya na-distribute, diba? So, Dito minsan lumalabas yung mga rallies, yung mga collective voices na ginagawa ng mga mamamayan. So, again, let's watch another movie for this.
Boys and girls, do you know what it means to vote? When people vote, they make an important choice. What if your family couldn't decide what to eat for dinner? What could you do? Take a vote to choose a dish. What if your basketball team needs a new captain? What could you do? Take a vote. As a citizen, voting is very important. Grown-ups who are 18 and older vote when it is time to choose new leaders for a community. This could be the mayor of a city or the governor of a state. Citizens even vote for the President of the United States. Let's see what happens when people vote. On Election Day, citizens go to a special place, like a library or a school gym, to vote for leaders in their community. Inside, there are many voting booths. These booths help people keep their votes private. Voters select their choices on a ballot and put it in the ballot box. Some voting booths have special computers instead of ballot boxes. After all the votes have been counted, a new leader is chosen. Let's review. When people vote, they make important choices. Citizens vote for leaders such as mayors, governors, and presidents. Election Day is a special day for voting. Voters select their choices on a ballot and place it in a ballot box. The votes are counted. And in watching, goodbye.
So, hello everybody! Lahat po ba tayo may natutunan sa ating pinanood na video?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Ngayon naman, tatanungin ko naman kayo about dun sa mga different reforms na nakita nyo sa ating tinalakay at ngayon susuriin natin kung ano-ano ito. So, para sa aking katanungan, what are the different reforms na mayroon tayo na nakikita natin kanina sa ating pinabasang presentasyon? Can somebody answer me?
Ma'am,
Yes, Miss Veron?
sa free Spanish or free colonial, iba yung social classes compare sa Spanish, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Ano pa aside that?
American at present government, tas iba rin yung mga tawag. Nagkaroon ng mga pagbabago sa constitution natin. Tapos, pati na rin yung type of government na meron tayo. Kung dati more on dictatorship, ngayon, democracy na, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Yun talaga yung mga major changes or reforms sa ating sistema. Dati, galing lang tayo ng from biyak na bato constitution, tumalo na tayo ng, ngayon, ang dami na natin pinagdaan, nasa 1987 constitution na tayo. Dati from dictatorship, ngayon nasa democracy na tayo. And yung different social classes, di ba? Wala na kasi tayong ano ngayon wala na tayong mga datu, raha. Ang meron na lang tayo ngayon, mga upper class, yung mga mayayaman, mga negosyante, 'di ba, yung mga ganon. Tapos upper class, middle class, lower class, yun na lang yung ating mga ginagamit as the general statement for the social classes. Kasi dati meron pa yung mga peninsulares. So ngayon, nakadepende na yung ating classes sa sinasahod natin sa amount dun sa halimbawa, you are minimum age earner, o di lower class. So, pag pwede naman pumasok ng middle class kung sa isang bahay is marami naman kayo nagtatrabaho. Then, depende yun kasi sa assets na meron tayo dun sa tinatawag natin na SALN. Di ba, nagsasubmit tayo ng SALN kapag tayong mga adult So, nakikita natin sa BIR. So, pwede natin na ma-identify kung anong type of social classes na ba tayo. 'Di ba? So, may ipapanood po akong video and I hope everyone will also sing or also sabayan po yung ating papanoorin.
Education, Social Science, President Song.
So, everybody
Let's sing. Aguinaldo, Quezon, Laurel, Los Meña, Rojas, Quirino, Magsaysay, Garcia, Macapagal, Marcos, Aquino, Ramos, Estrada, Arroyo, Aquino, Duterte, Bongbong.
So, ayan, narinig na natin yung President song and I hope from our previous activities, discussions, and group activities, I hope you learned a lot from our topic. And now, ready na ba tayo para mag-take ng ating quiz?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Parang handang-handa na kayo So, for our quiz, isulat na lamang ito sa inyong papel. Okay, sa inyong notebook. So, choose the best answer for each question. Which country colonized the Philippines for over 300 centuries? Okay, lahat ba? May sagot na?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ano sagot natin?
Spain.
Okay, very good. Letter A. So, second question. Who was the first president of the Philippines?
B. Emilio Aguinaldo.
Very good. That is Emilio Aguinaldo. Ito naman. What year did the Philippines gain independence from United States? Okay, what is the answer?
B.
Okay, very
1946.
good. Very good, Miss Veron. So, for our number 4, which political party did Benigno Aquino III belong?
B. Liberal Party.
Yes, Liberal Party. So, what is the significance of EDSA People Power Revolution and the history?
C. It resulted in the overthrow of a dictator.
Very good. This is the result of the overthrow of a dictator. So, kasi nga dito, parang pinatalsik na sa pesto yung diktatoryang Marcos. So, after our activity, lahat po ba ay naka-perfect score?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, very good. So, for your last activity, we have your assignment. So, for your assignment, create a short essay about the characteristic that you would like to see in the president or a leader. It can be in the present time or in the past time, but as long as we'll be able to tell the characteristics that you really wanted to see or you have seen in a leader. Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. And for our closing remarks, this is all for today, and I hope you learned a lot from our discussion. So again, I am your teacher, and I am your guide. I am your light, and I am your love. Thank you for sunshine. Thank you for listening, everybody, and I hope you have a very fruitful day. Goodbye.
Bye.